Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another weekly fighting roundup. And so if you're new around here and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Like video if you do indeed like video, and let's get straight into it. So starting off with boxing as always, Tszyu will fight Fundora on March 30th. Furman pulled out due to an injury, and it seems like we might never see Furman actually back fighting again. But I still think the Tszyu versus Fundora fight is an entertaining one to see. And I mean, it's only next weekend now, so not far away. Blachowicz will fight Mendoza March 30th, so that's also on that card as well. It's also quite a good fight as well, to be fair. Crawford is a mandatory challenger for the winner of Tszyu versus Mendoza. He has, used that super champion status, like I've mentioned before in videos, to get to now be the mandatory challenger for Tszyu versus Fundora. And I think if Tszyu is to come through and win against Fundora, Tszyu versus Crawford, it might not be branded as such a huge fight for Crawford, and that would dispense one. But I actually do think it's a very good fight as well, and yeah, I'm excited to see that one, if it is, of course, going to happen. Bridges has called out Wet. Strange, not really a fight which anybody wants to see, but strange. Navarrete will fight Berinchyk May 18th. Good to see Navarrete moving up now to lightweight, trying to become, I believe, a 4-weight world champion and just really cementing that legacy. Navarro versus Lopez, Medeiros versus Vicente will fight April 6th. Dubois versus Hrgovic, Ball versus Ford, and Zhang vs Wilder is set for June 1st. It seems like that, well, it's rumoured for June 1st. It seems like that possibly might be featuring, on some of the 5v5s. We're not entirely sure what's going on with that as of yet. I mean, they have just announced the weights, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, but it seems like they're the possible fights which are looking to happen, and there are two heavyweight ones in the weight classes, and there is a featherweight one there, so you would maybe think that they're on the table to be the fights, but we'll have to wait and see. Maloney is set to fight Guevara May 12th. It's no longer going to be Quadras, it's going to be Guevara now. Seems like Quadras had to pull out for some kind of reason. I'm not entirely sure. It might be an injury. But it's still a good fight nonetheless. Davis versus Martin and Benavidez versus Vosdik will fight June 15th. It seems like all the big cards are, slowly starting to come together now, and this is one of them. Davis versus Martin. So it's a good fight. I'm excited to see Davis back in the ring as of always. And Benavidez versus Vosdik. It's Benavidez moving up in weight, and I'm sure it's going to be a very entertaining one as well to have them both on the same cards. It seems like with everything going on in Saudi at the moment, PBC are also trying to up their levels, and with Amazon Prime now, they're really trying to up their, like I mentioned, levels and standards. Donovan will fight Ritson May 25th. Griffin will fight Quintana April 15th. Okoli will fight Rosansky May 24th. That's an interesting one. Okoli moving up now to Bridgerweight, and Rosansky's an entertaining fighter, I suppose, and he'll put it on Okoli, but I am really wanting to see, and I'm sure everybody's really wanting to see a different type of Okoli for this type of fight. Thompson versus Georgieg and Hopewell versus Rueg will fight April 20th. Noakes, Kane Jr., Turner, Fale, Adams, Lavin and Levant will fight April 20th. Moreau versus Andrade and Los Santos versus Valenzuela is set to fight June 15th. Yet again on that same Davis card for June 15th. That is now shaping up, like I mentioned, to be an amazing card. And yeah, very exciting. Love seeing Morel fight whenever he fights, and Los Santos is also, if that makes sense, an entertaining fighter as well. Smith is director of broadcasting for GBM Sports. Simpson versus Mabaji and Whitaker versus Willings will fight on March 31st. Shallow will fight Zakozy April 13th. Heaney will may fight Adamus June 8th. That's an interesting fight. I don't know where that will be. It might be in the UK in a big stadium fight for Heaney, but it's a big step up for Heaney, and I'm not entirely sure if that's a safe fight to put him in or not. But nonetheless, it's a fight which might happen. His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh wants Benavidez to fight the winner of Bivol vs Beterbiev in December. He said last week he wants him to fight the winner, and now it seems like it could be in December. Of course, he has to get through Vosdik first. Dickens has joined Let's Go Management. Murray won via points versus Kemsky. Buttigieg won via points versus Stricek. Cameron won via TK round 1 versus Ataba. Levers won via KO in round 9 versus Merger. Flint won via unanimous decision versus Hassan to remain Central Area Super Lightweight Champion. Ryan won via stoppage round 4 versus Harper to remain WBO World Welterweight Champion. Davis won via decision versus Williams, unanimous decision versus Williams, and Smith won via KO in round 5 versus Pader to become WBC Silver Super Lightweight Champion. And you know, if you haven't seen him on Instagram, I was at this card, I was at this event. It was an amazing event to be at, and you know, it was a privilege to be there. And all the interviews I do, you know, through Fight Weekend afterwards, which was, you know, Ismail Davis afterwards, on the Squared Circle Boxing YouTube channel. Go, feel free to check that out if you are interested. But yeah, as a card, I'll run through it. Murray, great to see him on a big card. Somebody who I interviewed on this channel over a year ago now, and it's great to see him getting these big opportunities. Buttigieg, you know, a clear points win. He seems like he has got that talent there, and he was landing some big shots. Credit to his opponent to staying up the whole time. But yeah, it's clear talent there. Cameron, stoppage around one versus Itaba. You know, Itaba isn't really too high of a quality of opponent, but you know, with Cameron's just general story and what he has gone through to be getting big wins like that on that stage, every fight means like it is just so much for him, means so much to him, and it's, you know, that's what you want to see in boxing. It's just very entertaining to see, and yeah, it's good to see. Levers won via, you know, KO round 9 versus Merger. Great performance from Levers, real step up in opponent and step up from him as well, and that was great to see. And Flint, unanimous decision versus Hatton, defied the odds, you know, went and did what he had to do and stopped Hatton, and there were always questions around Hatton's actual ability or not, if he could get up to that level, and you know, it seems like he was just, you know, short in that time, and he's, I'm sure, going to come back for it, but it probably is going to dent confidence quite a lot, and yeah, it shows that it's that level is a very tough level to be at, Central Area, and some of the fights which I've seen live for area titles are always some of the most entertaining ones. Ryan, stoppage around 4 versus Harper. To do what she did, to stop Harper the way she did, she really saw the weaknesses in Harper, and to be fair, going into it, I saw slight weaknesses in Harper, and I was, you know, questioning if she could still fight at the level, and Ryan really showed that, and she was relentless, put on a lot of pressure, and really shut everything out of Harper and got everything out of Harper, and credit to the corner for stopping it when they did. I think it would have just gotten worse and worse otherwise, and Ryan now has so many options of who she could fight. Seems like they might want Natasha Jonas next, Eddie Hearn said, but also if you look at Lauren Price versus McCaskill was a huge fight, the winner of that. Then also Chantel Cameron, it was talks as a huge fight as well, and so yeah, there's lots of big fights around there, and I would love to see any of them for Ryan. I think she is a quality fighter now and has improved a lot from where she's come from, and yeah, she's now, like I say, a quality operator. Davis, very good performance from him versus Williams. You know, step up in opponent, developing well, moving well. Good win for him. Smith, stoppage at KO in round 5 versus Cepeda. Really devastating body shot, really clean body shot, and now he's gone from being that of a British fighter to a world class fighter, and yeah, he really shut out Cepeda. I got my prediction right. I said that he would win. I also got a prediction right. I said that Ryan would win, but I didn't say that either of them would be stoppage in the way they were. I said that Ryan would win by decision, and that Smith would win in the later stoppage. But you know, credit to him, he really showed that he is able to fight at that level, and Cepeda now probably would like to see him retire, to be completely honest. I don't really think there's too much left of him, and it seems like he has given his all to the sport, which is always credit to him for doing that, and yeah, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with him. But Smith, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes on to next. You know, it was very funny to watch everything that they were saying about Azim, and really properly trying to call him out and everything like that, and saying if it's not going to end up happening, then they should just vacate the belt and everything like that. You know, really putting it on Boxer and putting them into a corner, and I suppose that's what you have to do to an extent. I don't discourage them for doing that, and it'll be interesting to see if that fight is next. If not, then it seems like possible fights, even like Sandor Martin, maybe a little bit in the future, or maybe one more fight and Sandor Martin could be an option for a fight for Smith. But yeah, great development win for him, and always great to see. So I believe it looks like I've forgot to mention one card in here as well. Lane won via stoppage, I believe, in round 4 or 5 versus Bork. TKO win. Relentless performance, entertaining performance. Credit to Lane. Somebody who we had on this channel a little while ago, but you know, you can tell the passion and where he's come from and his story. It's another one of them people with a great story and really deserving this win. And you can often see when fighters have that story and have that real purpose to come and win, then they're going to. And you know, his style isn't always the cleanest or anything like that, but it's just that pure passion, and sometimes that can take you to a great level, and it has done in that case, and it was great to see. Trawella won via unanimous decision versus Wheater. Creety drew versus Haywood. Spore won via split decision versus Fawcett. May won via TKO round 4 versus Mike Garver. Vitali won via TKO round 1 versus Dean. Avia won via split decision versus Bostwick. Holder won via TKO round 2 versus Earth. Foxy G won via TKO round 1 versus Evil Hero. Crew won via unanimous decision versus Grace. Yudi Gang drew versus Lil Krakra. Knight won via KO in round 1 versus Hawk, and in general, an absolute mess of an event, to be completely honest. From Misfits, probably the worst event that they put on in the way of just everything, what happened with it and everything, the whole bomb threat thing that got called, and yeah, the whole mess of a lot of fights in general. Yeah, it was a sloppy event. It really wasn't what I was wanting to see from a boxing event, to be completely honest. But you know, if I go through fights, the Vitali Dean fight was a horrible fight, pointless fight to make. It was entertaining, I suppose, to an extent. The build up was it? I don't know, but you know, Vitali won. I said that he'd win. Yeah. Avia split decision versus Bostwick was actually quite a good fight. Avia always puts it on his opponents. I said that Bostwick would win. I thought he would be, you know, a little bit more active and really kind of showing that pressure that he can put on and being that with power that he does have. But you know, it was a close fight, and Avia does what he have to do again, and yet again just outboxing his way to be able to get there. And he is, you know, an actual half decent boxer, to be fair. And credit to him, he's found his not level, but where he wants to operate around, and he's operating well there. Holder is a stoppage win versus Earth. That was a decent stoppage from him to see his return. Foxy G, that was a mess as well, with a fight versus Evil Hero and supposedly Most Wanted, but Most Wanted pulled out very last second. He didn't want it. Yeah, Fox. Then straight away, you know, Evil Hero didn't really want it either as well. Just him by himself against Foxy G. So you know, you can't really discourage Foxy G for doing what he did there and going through it and still getting the stoppage win, but it was messy, to be completely honest, the whole event, like I mentioned. Crew, though, very good performance from her against Grace, in my opinion. It was a close fight, and it was a step up in opponents for Haru, but when you actually speak about women's boxing in Misfits, that was probably the best fight which we've seen as of recent, and it was probably the least messiest, and yeah, Haru put on an actual good boxing performance to an extent and showed some good fundamentals, and there's definitely a lot to learn, but there's talent there, and yeah, it's good to see. The Yudi Gang one, I'm not even really going to talk about. Obviously, I believe that was during the whole bomb threat thing. Knight, though, good stoppage versus Hawk. I got my prediction right for that one. Oh, I also got the Holder one right, Fox G one right, Haru one right. Yeah, the Knight one I got right as well. But that was a good stoppage. And against me, there's a bit of an unknown. You know, Hawk is a bit of a street fight type brawler type fighter, and you didn't really know what to expect from him. But Knight actually does have good boxing ability, and I'm excited to see how far he can go. Moving on, the 5v5 weights, like I mentioned, have been revealed. Featherweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, and 2 heavyweight ones. So if I'm to do my predictions, I mean, I've already talked about heavyweight ones, Dubois Hrgovic, Zhang Wilder, and then the featherweight one, Bull Ford. And then middleweight is probably the one that I'm least sure upon who that could be. So I'm not even going to say. I don't know, in my opinion, as of yet, who that could be, unless I'm missing something which I've seen. But yeah, for the moment, I'm not sure. Light heavyweight, though, probably will be Anthony Yard, or I don't know, Craig Richards will probably fight, or Callum Smith. You know, there's a few fighters there. I'm not entirely sure actually that one either. Willie Hutchinson, I suppose, could be an option. But yeah, no, it's entertaining, and I'm excited to see. Hopefully next week the whole thing gets announced, and then I can talk a bit more about it. And Bentley will fight Dignam May 11th, and that is all the boxing news. Moving on now to the MMA news. McGregor seems like he's allowed to fight. He's back fighting. He's going to be fighting in the UFC soon. We've been hearing this for so long now, and he's just had his film released. But you know, now it seems like he's going to be fighting soon. I don't know. Something seemingly come out as that he said he's fighting soon. Bellator has found their new streaming service on Max. PFL founder has said that Ngannou will fight as early as June or no later than September against Ferreira. It's a fight I'm still, you know, wanting to see and excited to see. So hopefully it's sooner rather than later. Harris has been suspended for 4 years after his drug test. Hall wants to fight Holder in BKFC. Pitbull won via KO round 3 versus... No, I've put the wrong person who won that. Sorry about this. But yeah, somebody became new Bellator featherweight champion. Sorry about that. Moving on, Anderson won via unanimous decision versus Moore to become Bellator light heavyweight champion. Parkin won by decision versus Usman. Lima won via disqualification in round 2 versus Severino. Lenikova won via decision versus Rendon. Erins won via decision versus Nguyen. Johns won via decision versus Gibson. Arosa won via submission round 1 versus Ramos. Ogden won via decision versus Holobar. Padilla won via submission round 1 versus Pajuelo. Zalal won via submission round 2 versus Quarantilo. Tolbot won via KO in round 2 versus Simon. Shabazian won via KO in round 1 versus Dobson. Williams won via decision versus Taffer. Namajunas won by decision versus Ribas, and Severino was released by the UFC. So I suppose, that was probably the biggest talking point from that whole event. It wasn't really a huge event in general, but that was a big talking point from it. The whole bite situation. It was interesting. It caught me off guard. It was not really what I'm sure anybody was expecting or wanting to happen, and the bite looked bad. Like, if he had a gum shield in, I don't know how he got the bite. He must have bit down very hard, but it's rare to see. It's strange to see. You can't act like you didn't do that when that's obvious that you've done it. And credit to UFC for literally releasing him pretty much on the spot. One of the shortest UFC careers going in that. But yeah, no reason really as to why he did it or anything like that. But Dana White, credit to the way he's dealt it. He's pretty much put it on him straight away, and I feel like that has to be with cheats and things like that. You have to really put it on them and it show that it's bad and not encourage it. And Lima seems to take it well. To be fair, he got that tattoo, which was quite entertaining, and it seems like that's doubled his fight bonus because Dana White seems to like the tattoo, which is funny to see. But I suppose if you speak about any other fights on the card, Holobar, somebody we had on this channel, sad to see him lose, but it seemed like he's always not quite been UFC level. But it was a good fight nonetheless. And then the main event, Namajunas, Ribas, close fight. Good to see Namajunas back winning. I'm always a fan of her, but I don't know. I just think that whole Thug Rose, that was the original Thug Rose, that was really going through and being a dominant force in the division, has kind of gone a bit. And her first win at flyweight, it was a close fight. It was a very close fight, but she did look good at times. I think she looked good at the weight. I think she's getting more comfortable at the weight now, and that's good to see. But yeah, in general, not an amazing performance, but still against a tough competitor in Ribas. And I'm sure there are still big fights that are going to be made for Namajunas, but we'll have to just wait and see with every step up if she can deal with that step up. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like the video if you did indeed like the video, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.